So, conjugate, it's just chains and bands, in it. Well, that's what everyone thinks. That's what everyone thinks that doesn't understand how it actually works. So today, we're going to go through a bit of a breakdown of what conjugate is. I'm going to put this through a few parts. And we're going to have a deep dive over probably about 4 or 5 episodes. So, I don't know if people know, but I'm a very conjugate guy, as you can see, West Side Barbell, but I haven't always been. I didn't used to understand it. I didn't know what it was. I've done a decade of competing in powerlifting on and off. Majority of which has come from linear or block style training. I've only switched to conjugate for the past two years, but completely fallen in love with it. I believe, for the point that I'm in my training now, it is the optimal way of training for me. But that's for me. There's no right or wrong way for anybody's training. You can't, anybody out there who goes, this is the only way, this is the only way, block's the only way, linear is the only way, RPE is the only way, high frequency is the only way, conjugate's the only way, they're all full of shit, because they're just living and dying on a hill that they believe. But people change and people adapt to different stimuluses. And the person that you were 10 years ago, I guarantee is not going to be the person that you're going to be in 10 years from now. So we always have to constantly adapt. So we'll start breaking down what conjugate is. So conjugate, I've put this into ChatGPT. This is the definition that I come back with. Conjugate is a strength training system that incorporates a variety of methods to improve multiple aspects of athletic performance simultaneously. So the two things I've highlighted there is multiple and simultaneously. So what does that mean? It means basically that we're trying to use multiple different training aspects, as in we're trying to get faster, we're trying to get stronger, we're trying to get fitter, we're trying to build work capacity. But instead of doing that over a 12-month period or a 12-week period like a linear periodization is, we're condensing it into micro phases, as in like through 7 days. So we're attacking multiple different aspects all at once. So you'd say, well, how does that work? You can't do all them things all at once. Obviously, you have emphasis on one thing, you'll be pushing one thing the most, but you'll also be maintaining other things. So let's think of some sports. What are conjugate? So conjugate, another word for it is concurrent. So first sport I think of off the top of my head is MMA, mixed martial arts, yeah? So that's training multiple aspects all at once, yeah? You've got specialists that are boxers, you've got specialists that are wrestlers, you've got jiu-jitsu specialists, but the best mixed martial artists now are the ones that can do it all. Gone are the days where you'll see a sumo wrestler fighting a fucking kickboxer, because if you've got a hole in your game now, you just get exposed. So other sports that use concurrent training, boxing, wrestling, athletics, NFL, these kind of sports, you can't just be a one-trick pony. You can't say in boxing, which is also my background as well, you can't just be just have 3 rounds in you and just be all power and have no endurance. Your running is one thing that you're trying to bring up. You're trying to bring up your skipping, your conditioning, your sparring, your heavy bag work, which is pretty much resistance training, your actual resistance training. Same with wrestling, same with athletics, same with NFL. You've got to be fast and you've got to be strong at the same time. So next point is, every program is conjugate. Linear starts with building work capacity. So I've kind of just jumped into that there. So every program is conjugate in a way. It's just not condensed. So going into a linear program, you've got your 12 weeks mapped out, yeah? Your first 4 weeks will be building work capacity, building volume, light weights, and building up. So you probably start at 5 sets of 5, 60%, and then you'll increase 5% each week. You move up to like roughly 70%. So that to me is the repetition method, using sub-max loads to build work capacity. So that is what we do for the first 4 weeks in linear. Or if you use the block template, you would have a work capacity block. So then we move on to a strength phase, which would be possibly going from 5 sets of 5, dropping now to 3 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 3, at probably around 70% to 80% of your 1 rep max. That is also repetition method. And as other programs going, you probably might be doing a decent heavy single, like an over warm up while you're doing that. That would be deemed as max effort. So this then moves. So you do that for 4 weeks. So now you're 8 weeks into your linear, yeah. But all that work capacity that you've built up in them 4 weeks, now your total volume has dropped by 50%. So you're gonna lose all that fitness, and by the time you get to actually competing 8 weeks from there, you're gonna only be good for 1 rep and fuck all else. So then you move to your peak phase. So peak phase, last 4 weeks, you're gonna be doing a bit of dynamic effort because you're gonna be moving sub-max weights as fast as possible. You want to be building that explosive power as much as possible, and obviously max effort work, which is anything really over 90% or possibly 85% in raw powerlifting. So breaking that down there, the linear program it has the conjugate principles, but it's just too far apart. 12 weeks apart is once you've built your work capacity, once you get to your last 4 weeks, you ain't gonna have no work capacity. You're gonna be fit for nothing but 1 rep maxes. And that's when people get injured, and that's when people don't recover from session to session. You need to be fit. Gone are the days where people go, oh, mass moves mass. You're just fat powerlifter. Look at all the top powerlifters now. All the top raw powerlifters are jacked and they're fit. So put your donuts away and start doing some dynamic work. Start doing eight triples with 45 seconds rest, and actually time yourself and see how fit you actually are. So to conclude this episode, this is just a brief overview of what I believe the conjugate method is. It's not just bands and chains. It's not really high box squats and board presses and stuff like that. It is an elite training system, well thought out, that comes from all these eastern countries that have built fantastic athletes. But for some reason over here, it gets a load of hate because it's attached to multiply powerlifting. But Louis Simmons is the person that's made this famous in the Western world. But that's just one way of using that method. This method can be applied in any sport, and it should be applied in any sport. Keeps you fit, keeps you strong, keeps you powerful all year round. And I don't believe there's many programs that can do that. So that's episode 1. Thank you.